Boo.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Almost 60, Trinity, almost 60.
Oh yeah. Level and a half.
It's going to take me a while, I'm afraid.
Almost 60.
It's not a big
Nah. I don't think it's a big deal either. Just means I'm late to the party.
Yeah, I really don't complain about instances and all that stuff. Because at 60 the game actually starts. I mean, you have to farm so much rep that doing 5 or 6 runs a day is like nothing. And by the end of that, you have all the stuff you need for your pre-biz if you haven't done or haven't received Molten Core loot yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Mogi, your microphone, Jesus fuck.
No.
Hello.
Shit.
Hello.
Did I? No, killed, don't die. No.
Are you about to die, Lily?
Yeah, I am at my laptop, so I had to tab to switch to this channel. And in that time, everybody just died. Well, no one actually died though, but you know. Alright, I'm gonna go kick Todd and tell him to join. Be right back.
He's already here.
He is?
Yeah, Todd
He,
Bringer.
he actually joined on his own? Shit. Guess I don't have to go in and kick him then.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Good evening.
Evening.
Good.
Hello,
Cheers.
hello. Is Discord gonna be big enough?
Hi guys. Long time no see.
Yeah, I want my candies more.
Your candies are getting to level 60. Give me a few more
Yeah,
days.
I'm dead because I don't have candies.
Yeah, boy. Give candy.
Hello.
Hi there.
Good day.
Hey, Holy.
We have so many people. What the hell?
It's disgusting how many people there is. I mean,
Well, it's a one-time occurrence, so no reason to worry.
Don't worry, Trin. They're all here to hear you speak.
yes.
Almighty
Trinities.
And silently judge, of course.
Of
The
course.
the Trintatorship is about to start.
Better buckle up, children.
Holy, invite friend.
Lil,
Hey.
I am so not paying attention though.
Well met.
Is anyone though?
Dead.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to like pay my attention to you guys and then just...
they're not. No one's saying anything yet, Lil.
No, I know.
I purposely shut up because I talk too much.
Can you hear me?
Nope.
No.
Hey, Yipper.
Yeah, very loud indeed.
I like loud.
Volume, please.
Can you hear me?
You
Hype.
just put Yip at like 5% and then all's good.
Holy, wait with inviting me. I found the Black Lotus that I was looking for.
Invite him so he lives in.
Fuck
Yeah,
that shit.
Do it.
Nope. No, you can invite me. Please give me a new layer.
But wait, where are you? In which zone?
Silithus.
Oh, fuck you.
I'm gonna be farming with Holy.
Where is that Black Lotus and Siltus exactly?
South.
Oh well, south.
At the
south.
Bronx. At the Bronx Pit Cap.
Oh god, that's horrible.
Ah, for fuck's sake, is it Portal?
Jesus. Oh my goodness.
Of course it's Portal. Fucking Portal.
It's okay, I've muted it.
What's Portal doing now?
Just
He's at work.
That's fine.
He's at work.
Probably at work.
Alright, everybody. A meeting starting. So, the reason for this talk is, one, to kind of put a voice to the name and get a conversation going about the systems we've put in place as an officer team, to answer any questions you might have about them, and to make sure everybody actually knows what's going on, because I have no idea how many people actually read the stuff we put on Discord. I have no idea how many people actually look at it. So, intro of the guild. First point. Ascension started in early 2017 on Darashar Elysium. And later on we merged with Fidelis of the Seth Kerr realm, where a lot of people we have now come from. And we have a lot of returning players from the original guild, so that's lovely. We cleared all the content up to and including Naxxramas 40, everything gone within a good time period. And we have 8 officers I think. Is it 8?
Yeah, 8 or 9.
It's 8. And we have different roles to fulfill within the guild and different responsibilities. I am primary raid leader and warrior leader. Atashi is the weep boss and the tech dude. He knows a lot of stuff about add-ons and computers and stuff, which I very much don't. Bo is in charge of the warlocks, Chomik in charge of the mages, Holy Slam, second raid leader and paladin class leader. Talma, who has been on vacation for 3 weeks in Japan but is back now, is the priest and druid leader. Wartul is the loot officer and hunter leader, and then you have Savotnik, who is the rogue leader. And Savotnik temporarily will also help the druids and priests until Talma gets a higher level so he can join us. So that's basically it. That's 8 people running this guild, and that doesn't mean that any of us are more important than any of you. Everybody has a voice. This is a democratic system that we use. You will have an opinion, you will be able to tell us what you think. There isn't one person calling the shots here. So, raiding is obviously why most of us are here. It's a big, obviously, motivation for everyone in this guild. So how do you get into an Ascension raid? Well, you've got to become a trial raider. To become a trial raider you need to be level 60, and you need to be on the sheet that we put up 2-3 weeks ago to kind of determine how many people are interested in raiding with us. After maybe tomorrow or some other time we're going to be promoting people to trials. A trial raider has to complete 4 raid nights. Start to finish, 4 raid nights. After those 4 raid nights, we'll evaluate the person on performance, fuck-ups, extra kind of people who go the extra mile, stuff like that. If we're happy, you become a member. If we're not, you become a social. Socials will still be joining raids from time to time. If there's holidays, for example, we might be missing raiders, or for whatever reason we need extra people. But there is a priority, obviously, to bring trials and members over socials to the main raid. And after you become a member, there's also a few expectations to keep the rank. You can't become a member and then slack off for the rest of the year. We always expect people to perform well. Everybody has a chance to make mistakes, and that's totally fine. But we expect members to always enchant the gear, always use some consumables. That doesn't mean flasking. We're not a guild that requires you to pop flasks. That's not who we are. We didn't have that in old Ascension on Darashara. We're not gonna have it now, for the time being anyway. And what consumables might that be? Well, we're going to release a list of what we recommend people to use, but the most important is protection potions on progression. So on Ragnaros we'd be using fire protection, on stuff in AQ40 we'd be using nature, etc. Most importantly, just use something to show us that you want to be there. Put in a bit of effort, get some mongoose elixirs, arcane elixirs, I don't care. Bless you.
Bless you.
And you might have noticed there's a shit ton of people in this guild. Currently, like 73 people are on the roster, on the sheet, who want to raid with Ascension. That's a lot of people. Obviously, only I'll say like 30 people are now level 60, which is insane after 4 weeks of the server being up. But we're gonna have a very extensive benching system. And that benching system, as far as possible, is going to be as fair as possible. So everybody will eventually hit the bench. If you've hit the bench recently, you won't hit the bench again until everybody else in your class has hit the bench. So if we have, let's say, 7 mages, you'll get benched, and then you won't get benched until the 6 other mages have also hit the bench. Doesn't matter about performance, who does the most DPS, that's not necessarily what we're interested in, although it's obviously a good thing. We just want reliable people. So, with 70 people and 40 people in one MC run, we're going to be benching 30 people every raid. That's a lot of people. If you're a person who cannot stand being on the bench, who won't, you know, think it's fair, you might as well get out now, because it's going to happen to everybody, even later on. We're also going to release a a sheet to show how many of each class we want in a raid, the kind of perfect composition, if you will. So you know, kind of, okay, we have 12 paladins, we want to bring maybe 4 or 5, I don't remember. Might be good to reevaluate whether or not you actually want to be in this guild and visit the bench every 2 weeks. And that leads us to the loot. How do we do loot? Obviously always main spec over off spec. Off spec gear / fashion gear, trash gear, whatever, is rolled. No other rule, just roll off it. If it's useful to you in your main spec, you can't roll for it. If it's not useful to anyone, you can roll for it. Good loot. We'll go through the EP, GP loot system that we've used similar. We've used a similar system back in Ascension, but today it is now an in-game add-on that everybody needs to have. We'll put that up as well so you can find it. Essentially what the system boils down to is you will receive effort points, in short EP, by attending a raid. You get 1 EP at 7:30 and you get 1 EP at 23:00. So that's 2 EP per raid. Same for people on the bench as in the actual raid. GP stands for gear points, and you will receive gear points by receiving loot. Some loot is better than other loot. Good loot has a higher price than shit loot. By dividing your effort points with gear points, we get the effective EP/GP number that we decide on who gets loot. You can learn more about this system later if you want to. There is no loot priority, essentially. If it's good for you, if it's a good type of item for your class that's dropping, you can roll for it. A hunter can get a Drakefang talisman, a paladin can get a mage blade, etc, etc. The only thing we reserve to a loot council is legendary items such as Thunder Fury and Hand of Ragnaros and profession recipes. That is basically it for the loot. It's not to be lazy that we put in like this system to not have any priority. It's to make it fair. Because imagine being a hunter and knowing your best trinket will never be yours because a rogue might be getting a bit more DPS out of that item. That's not something we want. So that does mean if you are thinking an item's good for you and you put in a bid for it and it's shit for you, your class leader will help you decide whether or not that's an item you should be spending your points on. For example, a hunter rolling on Striker's Mark. It's a shit bow for hunters and it's biz for melee until next Ramas. So obviously we're going to recommend the hunter to not bid on that item. And that's it essentially for the loot. Next point I suppose is the sign-ups. So for Sunday we have like 30 people signing up, and I expect everyone to be attuned and stuff like that for signing up, so yeah, that's great. You know, 30 people already. For the next raid in the next week, Wednesday, there's not really a fair way we can decide on who actually gets a raid spot and who doesn't, because there hasn't been any benching yet. So, we're gonna prioritize always level 60s first. Of course, always level 60s first. And after that, it's first come, first serve. The signups are not open for the raid in the next week on Wednesday yet. We're gonna announce when they opened a few hours in advance or a day in advance, so everybody has a fair chance to sign up. Because if we have a shit ton of people signing up, then we can't decide who gets what spot. So it's just going to be who signs up first within each individual class. So we want, for example, 4 tanks and 6 Fury Warriors, etc. The first 6 Fury Warriors who sign up will get that spot, for example. That's really how we're going to do the first raid. And then everybody else gets a bench, and then the next raid, those people on the bench will get to raid, and it go on and on it goes, essentially. One note I forget to mention is Sunday is an EPGP raid. That means you do get effort points for attending the raid, you do get gear points for receiving loot. Just so you know, it's not a PUG, so to speak. It is within the loot system. Furthermore, we have a guild bank called ASC Bank. It's currently fairly naked, but there is a few items on it. It's controlled by a Wartle. We have a plan for that guild bank to be very rich and help the raid and the guild with lots of stuff. And how we did that in Old Ascension was stealing the gold that drops from raid bosses. We don't know if that's possible here yet. Hopefully it is. And that guild bank will support the tanks with flasks. Melee will get annihilators and nightfalls, stuff like that, fire resistance gear, nature resistance gear, everything that can help a raid tremendously, which is usually helping a tank, because tanks have so much shit they need. If we don't have the opportunity to steal the gold in a guild, in the raid, sorry, we're most likely going to be looking for donations. It won't be much, maybe 5 gold a head per week or something, we don't know yet. Time will tell, really. But the guild bank will be an essential part of trading within the guild. And that's really it. That's pretty much all we've discussed. That's pretty much everything we've put in place so far. I'm very, very happy in general with how people are acting within the guild, because everybody's been extremely helpful to everybody, and everybody's pushing hard to get level 60 and get loot and get attuned. So all I can say really is keep helping each other, get everybody attuned, help everybody level up, do whatever you can to get as many level 60s in the first raid as we can. Always be on the lookout for the announcement channel on Discord. That's where important shit goes on, important announcements, stuff like that. And yeah, that's it really. Are there kind of any questions or concerns about the systems we've discussed now? Nobody?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
You're very clear, thank you.
Ari asks, when will the loot add-on be put up? Atashi's going to be putting up some links and some explanations about the add-ons we want people to have sometime. Tomorrow, later tonight, your choice, Atashi.
I can link it in the add-on channel right now.
Right. If you have any questions about the add-on, how it works, feel free to PM Atashi or Wartle or myself or anyone else. It's not complicated. If you're a non-officer, the only thing you really use the add-on for is checking your standing, like if you're up for loot or not. Colombo asks, is it possible to pug raid if you are benched? No, that is the direct opposite of what the bench is for. The bench is for people who want to raid with us. If you're on the bench, you're gonna be outside Molten Core or near Molten Core. You can do farming on alts, you can do whatever stuff you want, but you need to be ready to enter Molten Core within minutes. The point of being on the bench is for us to, if a healer disconnects, then we have somebody else who can jump in straight away. There's no downtime, we just keep on trucking. That's what the bench is for. So no pug raids if you're on the bench.
What is the minimum level of a raid member on this Sunday?
You can enter Molten Core as a level 55 if you are attuned, you've done the quest, but we will prioritize level 60s first. And I think currently there's like 30 people, so I mean I expect more people to ding for the rest of the week, so we might be a full level 60 guild. But if you attend the raid on Sunday as a level 55 with attunement, you will get EP. You might be on the bench, you might be in the raid, we don't know yet, but you will get EP, you will get effort points for attending. Yes, that's correct, Savo. If MC is clear, if it's done, if we've cleared everything on the Wednesday, you are free to pug it for the rest of the week. That's very correct, Savo. And Lily, yes, we do intend to kill enough bosses to do the hands quest. That's actually a very good point. We do intend to do the quest. We have actual contestants for next week.
How many are on the hands quest right now? Just like...
Yeah, can you type 123 in Discord or guild chat if you have the Hands of the Enemy quest in Molten Core?
I have the Molten Core right before the end of the...
If you have the Hands of the Enemy, can you please type 123? There's 4 people. It's not enough. Corpse Fire has it. Watani, okay. 6 people, almost there.
So we might, with some traveling, be able to kill Ragnaros this week.
Maybe, it depends on the time, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
It's quite the trek to Ashara and back.
It's just that it would be really a shame if we end up at like 9:30 and Major Domo can't spawn.
Yeah.
But we just need a mage and a warlock. Or to do gymnastics and fly back.
We need 2 trips though, because you need to deliver the quest and then go back and get the other one, so it's still quite a lot, but yeah, warlocks can do it.
Lexi says he wants to get shots and be in Ashara. That's a good proposition, but Savotnik is planning to put a warlock there. So we don't have to have a level 60 member standing in Ashara being useless, basically. Ovular asks, if we clear everything on Wednesday, what do we do with Sunday? Obviously Onyxia has a shorter reset, 3 days. We might potentially be looking at 2 Onyxias per week.
As far as I know, it's 5 days.
Okay, 5 days. Alright, so sometimes we might get 2 per week, depends on the reset. We haven't decided anything to do with the remaining time. It could be extra dungeons, like the 10-man raids and stuff. We could do that as extra activities on the Sunday, because we only have Molten Core and Onyxia right now. Yeah, exactly. Maybe Upper Blackrock Spy would be a good raid for us to do as well. We're gonna decide, and if we can't decide, then we'll ask the guild to do a vote on what to do with that time.
Yeah, we should do something, that's about it. Like if that's...
Yeah, we will do something. No, we will do something. Yeah, farm rep or do UBRS, like 4 UBRS runs or 5. Help out struggling guildmates who might need some help. If it's not a main raid, as in Onyxia or Molten Core, it is not mandatory. But otherwise, yes. Any other question?
Can I ask for something? Which one officer is our forum officer? I need add my character to our website. Yeah.
That is Atashi.
Atashi. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks so much.
Yeah, I will go through the website and like post some pictures how to sign up your character and all that.
Okay,
after
amazing.
this meeting.
I will catch you after meeting. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Great.
It's actually very simple to sign up for the website and to be able to sign up for the raid. Ari, it's not a spreadsheet you sign up on. It's a spreadsheet we made to find out how many people we had interested in raiding. To sign up for the raid, you need to log into a website, make an application, which we will accept. and then you go into the events button on the main screen and you sign up for Sunday. That's how you sign up. You can't do anything until your application's been accepted, and it's just going through the gears. Really, it's not an evaluation. It's just a system to get on the website.
Who do I send money to skip the benching system?
You can send it to Crit Shield.
Why the hatred?
It's a provocation.
Toxic. Toxic.
Goddamn female clickers.
So, we've put in some fairly intriguing questions about the benching. There's a lot of benching. This looting is very different here from some of the more try-hard guilds. Nobody's concerned about benching or loot. I'm assuming, because nobody said it, which I'm very surprised about.
Concerned.
Is the benching at all dependent on performance?
Nope, it is completely fair, which means, as I said earlier, imagine the scenario: we have 8 mages signed up for a raid. We need 7 mages in the actual raid group. 1 is on the bench. The next week, the bench mage is not on the bench, somebody else is. It's independent of any performance as long as the persons are the same rank. That means members and trial raiders and officers will have a higher priority to join a raid than socials. Socials are people who cannot raid full-time with us, so they will not have the same priority. Colombo, yes, officers will also be benched eventually. For now, we need all of them to evaluate people to see how everybody's performing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and raid leaders are probably not benched first, so to say.
Yeah, exactly. So after all the most of the trials have been either promoted or demoted, the officers will also go through the bench. Same for new content. Like we want the kind of officers and the main guys in the raid with new content when BVL opens, when AQ opens, etc. Inevitable. How many tanks do we have? We have 4 tanks currently on the roster who are approved. That's Tashi, Katie, Mithrilus, and Jord.
Right. I do have a question about tanking. Well, I'm Camel, I'm a Holy Paladin. I was speaking with Holy about my spec, and I'm a hybrid Holy Paladin. I'm quite deep in protection talents as well, up to the Blessing of Sanctuary. And Holy suggests that I could gather some tanking gear and tank some AoE and Molten Core and BWL, like imps or things like that. Do you still want me to do that? Do you still want me to gather the
it's
tanking?
totally fine. We had that in older session as well. So your primary role would be healing, of course. That's your primary
definitely.
spec. Collecting tanking gear is something you do on your own. All the tanking gear is initially going to go to first the Prot Warriors, the Tank Warriors, then the Fury Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But yes, that is absolutely fine.
Okay.
And the Blessing of Sanctuary is always nice to have for AoE tanking, even if it's not a Holy Paladin or a hybrid Paladin going.
Yep. Yeah, I ran Blessing of Sanctuary on my Paladin through Molten Core and Blackwing Lair before I before Preacher Man started being regular, I guess. So yeah, it's a really good buff.
Holy Paladins don't really gain a shit ton from the talents, do they? Apart from Illumination, I suppose.
Yeah, 5% crit is really strong, but
yes, 5% crit, yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to spend 10, 15 more points in protection, it's totally fine.
I'm not planning to go to the deep Holy build. I will definitely stick with the Sanctuary build because I used to play it on the Light Scope and Might and Magic, and I found it quite good for my game style. So
it's totally fine. We've discussed this previously a few weeks ago, actually, when we were discussing quote-unquote meme specs, and we decided that a hybrid paladin, it's not a meme spec. It's perfectly viable in certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
Right, if there's no more questions, I'm gonna go. RE2 and Fury Warrior is considered viable, yes. That's that is though. The stipulation is it has to be slam spec, and you need to learn to be slam spec. Yes, Inevitable BRE is on the EPGP. It is a 10 cost. That is the highest cost. PAL, it is currently being streamed on YouTube. You can find it there on my channel. RE, no, has to be slam spec. That's the most efficient single target two-hand spec. Oriel asks about the roster being locked. If you're not already on the sheet, you will not be raiding with Ascension for now, anyway. This sheet was locked 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks ago.
Ever since then, everyone I've recruited to Guild, I've said that we can't take more raiders. Are you still wanting to join? So if you've been invited and with the idea of raiding within the last week or so, it's like, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, it's just the situation kind of got out of hand. Tashi?
Yeah?
Microphone.
No, that's not me.
Oh. So, are you on the sheet? Well, if you've not contacted an officer about wanting to raid with us, as the many announcements went out on Discord and the guild message of the day, I'm sorry, it's just too bad. We have over 70 people on the sheet. We can't have any more. It's locked, I'm sorry.
What about if we don't get 40 people for the Sunday raid? What about
Then we're inviting everybody who wants to join. We're not going to go with 35 people if we got 5 more people who wants to join but isn't on the sheet. That being said, the people on the sheet will have a trial rank, thus the priority on spot and loot will go to them over a social, as I said a few minutes ago. Are you on the sheet? I can post a picture of the sheet on Discord right so you can see who's on it, who is.
Do you know how updated that sheet is? Like, if people left and...
It's, I've removed a few people. Yeah, Death left earlier today, somebody else has left, a Hunter and somebody else, so... It's not completely up to date, because some people have swapped around, some people like... I know Snoosk is going Feral instead of Resto, which is fine. And Mithrilius is moving to the tank role instead of Fury. Although he is Fury spec, but never mind that. But I think it's pretty much up to date. It's really going to be updated when we start promoting people to trial. That's when I start updating it completely.
Okay.
When are you letting me to spec Fury prods?
No. Unless your name is Atashi or Katie, you cannot be Fury prod.
Look, with pleasure I change this bullshit talents here, if that will be necessary.
So Mitrilus is prot or Fury prot?
He's Fury, period. Just Fury.
Okay.
You don't need off tanks in Fury prod in MC or BVL. Or AQ, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for Nax. There's like the last stand and the extra armor and shit is very good for Nax for fights like Patchwork, but there's nothing hitting that hard for off tanks until then. So the off tanks currently is Jord and Mithridus, and the main tanks are Atashi and Katie. Those are the two prot tanks, and Jord and Mithridus are the Fury warriors who will be doing off tanking primarily. Yes, Katie, you well, I mean, you can tank in Fury prot if you like. It's your choice, really. It's, I mean, it should be almost as good as Deep Prod. You should definitely be with Defiance talents, Last Stand talents, increased block, stuff like that. But otherwise, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'm Deep Prot right now, Atasha speaking. So if you don't want to be protection, like super deep protection, you don't have to. But yeah, I never saw something like I ran Molten Core earlier this week or last week, and there was nothing really that required 2 protection tanks.
No. I mean, 1 protection tank would be fine if that person had 100% attendance, just for the hard-hitting fights with concussion blow and extra armor and shit like that. But realistically, you can have all Fury Warriors, and some of them tank, some of them don't. That's a good point, overly stated. We are really lacking tanks for dungeons. I see that daily with people going crazy looking for tanks.
Like, that's the thing with Vanilla WoW, is there's only one class that's viable to tank dungeons. So if you're a warrior, oh sure, okay, fine, yes, you can be a bear and tank, sure, but there's not a lot of tanks out there. The warriors are the people who should be speccing to be tanks in dungeons. You can't expect to be in a dungeon if you're not a tank as a warrior. So, like, you got to help everyone else out by being in some sort of tanking spec and having a shield on.
No, that's
please.
wrong.
You don't need to okay, all our priests, we've got 20-something priests who are never going to do jailbreak because there's only a Tashi who's prepared to do any tanking. Like,
Listen,
it's not going to work.
1 second. You do not need protection tanking talents to do tanking. You can tank in standard Fury spec all day long, every day. It's not going to make a huge difference. You just need, the warriors just need
to... Are prepared to do it? Are they prepared to do it? No, because they're all thinking they're going to be Fury Raiders, and they're all looking to get Fury gear. They're not going to be able to loot any gear if they're not Fury, because they won't be allowed to loot the gear they need.
Listen, just calm down for a sec. Just calm down for a second.
Totally
it's
calm.
already been discussed. I've tagged the warriors many times saying, blah blah, you should do more tanking. You can still get DPS loot even if you offer to tank a dungeon, etc. We just need people to actually do it, and I know like Mysarian and Meyer and Loyal and everybody else have been trying to do more dungeons. We just need to try a bit more. That's all. I know people are working hard to do it. At the end of the day, we have 100 fucking people in this guild and what, like 10 warriors? It's never gonna. This equation is never gonna add up to totally. Like, it's never gonna go perfect. So, I mean, I know everybody's working hard and just keep up the good work. I mean, we're progressing really quick. We're a month in. Like, in 2 days, the server's been up for 4 weeks. A month, exactly. And we're ready to raid Molten Core. I mean, that's a month quicker than I expected, honestly. So, yes.
Tank service, 10 gold a run.
That's cheap.
Alright, anyway, if there's no more questions, I am gonna go.
Where?
Away.
Oh shit.
Tanking.
Alright, good night everybody. Good luck.
60 Wintron.
Good night.
Tomorrow or Friday.
Good night, mate.
Good night.
Good night, mate.